Some university students are being ripped off, according to the Prime Minister, what have been called Mickey Mouse degrees. He says that young people are being sold a dream when they enrol on what are essentially extremely low-quality, tatty degree courses, and they end up being ill-equipped and underpaid for decent jobs post-graduation.
Under new government plans, universities will be forced to limit the number of students they enrol on underperforming courses, a move that Labour claims is an attack on the aspirations of young people. So let's speak to the Education Minister in charge, Robert Halfon. Very good morning to you, Mr Halfon. What kind of courses students might be on right now are you going to suggest aren't worth being on?
Well, good morning. What we're announcing today are three very important things. The first is that we are going to ask the Office for Students to impose recruitment limits on courses that lead to poor quality outcomes, because we know that recent studies have showed that 30% of students are not progressing to good skilled roles or to going on to additional education. We're also reducing the cost of classroom-based foundation years from £9,250 as it is at the moment to £5,760, and we're rocket boosting our skills offering with a 40 million investment in degree apprenticeships.
Sorry to interrupt.
This is important as well, because we want to ensure that we give students. I know it's an absolute answer to the question.
The question was, which degrees are you going to cap?
We're going to cap those courses that have poor quality outcomes.
And what's the definition of a poor quality outcome?
A poor quality outcome is a student that doesn't progress to a good job 15 months after graduating, a student that doesn't necessarily continue the course if there are too many students dropping out, or complete their course. We want to ensure that university is about jobs and skills, and that people who make that big investment, they get a good job at the end. And as I say, that's why we're also boosting our degree apprenticeships offering, introducing UCAS for apprenticeships as well.
How do you actually define a good job at the end? Are you talking about income, or are you talking about social worth? For example, if somebody's studying for a social care degree, they're not going to make a fortune when they go into social services, having graduated, assuming they graduate. So are you judging it on money? Are you judging it on the moral value of the job that they go into? How are you making this assessment?
Well, what we're saying, if people are doing degrees, they should get good jobs at the end, and that is in public service, or it might be in the private sector, whatever it may be. But there are too many students not getting those jobs, too many students who aren't completing, too many students who are dropping out of courses. So that's why all we're saying is that there should be recruitment limits on those courses that lead to those poor outcomes.
Okay,
we want to improve
Mr. Halfon,
quality.
can I just to follow up that point, I'm still not quite sure what the definition of a good job is, because you basically just said public or private sector. Well, that's every single job. So are you talking about a salary limit, that you should do a degree and reach a certain salary, and that is the definition of a good job?
No, well, look, of course, we're looking also at earnings potential, but that doesn't mean we're expecting students to come out to get footballer salaries. There are students who are doing 3-year or 4-year degrees and not getting jobs that are linked to their degree, or not getting skills that they need or the country needs, and that's what we mean by good jobs, so whether they are in the public service or private sector.
Okay, so you're talking about a value to a job.
I'm talking about a good job that has good earnings potential, whether it's in the public or the private sector, that reflects the investment they've made in that degree, and also meets the skills needs that our country needs, but individuals need as well.
What are these jobs that don't do that?
Just give us an example.
If you come out of university having done a 3-year degree, and you get let's say for at least 15 months after, you're working in a very low paid job that is not reflecting the investment you've made in that degree.
What's very low pay? What's salary? Sorry, I just go back to the first question. What is the salary we're talking about that's very low pay?
What I'm talking about, this is not rocket science. If you're investing in a degree,
you expect... There's an answer here somewhere.
Yeah, well, exactly, and I'm giving you that answer. If you're doing a degree, then you get a job that is relevant to your degree. We know that the IFS, for example, said that 70,000 students who leave university would have been better off if they had not get worse off. The better off if they had not gone to university. They've been disadvantaged because they're getting low-paid jobs that does not reflect the investment they've made in that degree.
Mr. Halfon, I really wish, and I bet I'm speaking for our viewers as well, I really wish you'd just give us a handful of examples of the kind of degree courses which you think are rubbish degree courses. Just give us a few examples of actual courses that you think are wasting everybody's time.
Look, we know that a number of universities are lower than the threshold of 60% that are progressing on to good skilled jobs or good progression in additional education at the end.
To give me an example of the kind of degree courses that you would define as a Mickey Mouse degree course. Can you just give a straight answer to that incredibly simple question? Basket weaving, social care, fishing? I mean, just give us an example.
No,
what do you
because
mean?
it's the wrong question. Because what we're doing is we're focusing on core individual courses at universities that have poor recruitment outcomes.
Such as? Give us an example of the kind of courses that we're talking about. You're not presumably talking about history or English or economics or politics or law?
Or
because it may be at different universities, some courses, the same courses have good outcomes and some have poor outcomes. So we're focusing on those courses at individual universities that have poor outcomes.
Such as? Give us an example.
It could be any subject, because it may be down to for all kinds of reasons. It may be down to the teaching.
I've never heard a woollier policy. Mr. Hufford, I'm sorry, I've never heard a woollier policy.
Actually,
maybe it's our questions and maybe it's your answers. I don't know.
It's a very substantive policy because it focuses on. It could be any course. It focuses on individual courses that have poor employment outcomes. That is not woolly at all. It could be any particular course. And what we're doing is making sure that students who leave university have good jobs, good skills at the end. And as I say, we're giving them all kinds of offerings from degree apprenticeships or whether it's traditional degrees.
Do you think that universities that are offering the Mickey Mouse degree courses that you don't seem able to give examples of, so I'm going to stop asking because I'm just wasting airtime, do you think that they're doing it because they're being greedy? It's simply a way of putting money in their coffers?
Look, whatever the reason for it is, we're trying to crack down on poor quality university education for those 30% of students who are coming out with poor progression. And that's why I reiterate, we're boosting our skills offering. We're ensuring that courses that have poor outcomes, whatever those courses may be, that there'll be recruitment limits on those courses.
If I do a history degree and I end up working in a shop, does that make my history degree worthless, or does that make working in a shop worthless?
Of course it doesn't make it worthless, but what we're trying to do is ensure that those who do degrees have good outcomes when they finish their university degree.
Would working in a shop be a good outcome for someone who did a history degree?
It might. It depends what the progression is in the shop. Do you have progression to higher wages in that shop, depending on what job that you are doing? And we also, don't forget, we look at this from 15 months predominantly after graduating. We want good progression, we want good earnings, and we want good skills.
So you are aware that the government is saying that people shouldn't be giving higher wages right now because they fuel inflation?
Well, I'm aware that we have a very difficult economic challenge.
So how are people supposed to get these higher wages?
Like £97 billion on the cost of helping people with the cost of living, giving every family over an average of £3,000
you're saying that
a year. So
one of the factors is that people should be getting higher and higher wages, and that would be the definition of a good outcome. Right at the time when you're, as a government, saying, don't go and ask for higher wages because that's going to wreck the economy. Anyway,
the priority for the government is to bear down inflation because that's the biggest tax on the cost of living. That's the difficult choices the government have to make, as well as helping people by spending over £90 billion helping people with the cost of living. So it's inevitable that there are very difficult decisions about wages.
Slightly undermines the criteria of the good quality degree. But anyway, Robert Halfon, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Halfon.
It's an interesting policy, even if we don't quite understand it.